Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Arundhati Ramnan and with me is Shruti Mishra. These are the top headlines from the startup world. Oyo has pre-filed a fresh DRHP with SEBI to raise $400 to $600 million through an IPO. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 the IPO size may be revised within the $400 to $600 million range, all of which will be a primary issuance to repay most of its debt.
Go Digit Insurance refiles draft papers for a $440 million IPO after addressing the market regulators' concerns related to the company's employee stock plans, which has stalled the offering for months, Reuters reported. The IPO comprises a fresh issue of shares worth 1,250 crore rupees and an offer for sale of 109.4 million shares.
Zest Money is staring at multiple layoffs and its founders are seeking outplacements for the impacted employees a day after PhonePe called off the deal with the BNPL platform due to concerns of due diligence. As per a Money Control report, the founders held a town hall and informed employees about layoffs across departments.
The leadership team of an academy will take up to 25% pay cuts for FY24. The announcement comes a day after the EdTech unicorn fired 12% of its workforce in yet another round of layoffs. The salary cuts are permanent and can go up to 25%, CEO Gaurav Munjal said in an internal note.
The government unveils a new foreign trade policy aiming to nearly treble exports from current levels to $2 trillion by 2030, extends special benefits for e-commerce by doubling the value of exports through courier services, also aims to provide a fillip to export of drones, cryogenic tanks and certain chemicals.
Italy's data protection agency opens a probe into OpenAI's ChatGPT chatbot over a suspected breach of the AI application's data collection rules. The agency also accused ChatGPT of failing to check the age of its users. The app is supposed to be reserved to people aged 13 and above. Well, those are the headlines we are tracking for you this evening. Education-focused fintech startup CreaQuest recently raised $7 million or 56 crore rupees in a Series A equity funding led by Pravega Ventures with participation from leading family investors as well as angel investors. CreaQuest plans to utilize the proceeds to further enhance its product offerings and scale distribution across the education ecosystem. Joining me now to take this conversation forward is CreaQuest founder Rishabh Mehta. Rishabh, welcome to Startup Street. Now, CreaQuest helps solve payment solutions for education fees for schools, universities, coaching and more. How many institutions and students are you currently working with and how do you plan to use the proceeds to scale this up?
Hey, thanks, Arundhati, and thanks for having me on the show. CreaQuest today works with almost 5,000 plus education institutions. These institutions are across preschools. So we have some of India's largest preschool chains that are working with us, for instance, EuroKids. In the schooling ecosystem, where almost all of the top 10 chain schools use CreaQuest to power fee collection for their parents. Higher education, which is colleges and universities in India, some of India's largest universities like Amity, Sharda, Geetam University, BITS Pilani is recently signed up, also use CreaQuest to power fees for fee collection for their parents and students. So we're pretty much present across the education ecosystem. And what we enable institutions to do is we enable education institutions to provide multiple fee payment options for their parents and students. So, and which makes it easy and convenient and affordable for these students and parents to pay their fee to the education institution.
Okay. So, Rishabh, in terms of what you offer currently with respect to fee payment solution, what are the wide areas you want to enter in terms of additional product offerings?
So, to the contrary, I think we're just getting started in our journey to power one of the goals that we have is to be the largest payments platform in the education ecosystem. India's education ecosystem grosses almost $100 billion of fees every single year, and this is growing good 15-16%. Even if you look at from a single family, and what the data that we have is a typical family in India is almost spending 20 to 24% of their annual household income on their children's education fees, right? Now, this ecosystem is fairly underserved in terms of the payment solutions that are bridging the gap, both for the education institution to enable them to collect fees in more digital and easier manner, and for the parents by providing them more flexible payment options. So we feel this, this large ecosystem is severely underserved right now. And, we think we're just getting started. Of course, we have some marquee education institutions that are already using our platform, but we're yet very much in day zero, as we say it. And, we have a lot of headroom for growth just in our core product offering, at least for the next 18 to 24 months.
Okay.
And that's pretty much the area of our focus.
All right.
The fundraise will also help us augment our core offering and scale the distribution across the country. And that's pretty much our focus area right now.
Okay. Rishabh, like you mentioned, that Indians are paying approximately $100 billion in education fees annually. Tell me how much of this share is being processed on your platform, and how do you see the growth trajectory from here?
Correct. So, this 100 billion number, for instance, right, to give you some additional context, the total e-commerce category size in India is about $50 to $60 billion annually. And of course, that's growing as well, right? But education ecosystem is nearly 2x of the total e-commerce, which is all of these large companies that we speak of, right? And that just gives you context on the scale of, and the impact of this ecosystem in the Indian, broader ecosystem at large. Now, coming to your question of, how much are we processing? As I said, we're just getting started. But what a number that I could give you is the institutions, the 5,000 institutions that we have already partnered with, process about $2 to $2.5 billion of fees, right? So even when we work with some of the largest institutions in the country, even they are just yet processing maybe 2 to 2.5% of the total fee collection that's happening. So there's just a lot of headroom for growth, as I spoke before.
Okay. So, Rishabh, what sort of margins then are you able to clock on payment solutions, especially with your zero interest fee options and complimentary insurance cover? Is there room for expansion here? What kind of profits are you clocking, if any?
Sure. So, effectively, in our payment solutions, we're giving 3 payment options to education institutions that they could then offer to their parents. The first one is, of course, a credit product, and this is our core monetization lever. In this credit product, we basically enable the parent or the student to split their annual or semester or quarterly fee into monthly payments. Typically, there's an interest or a processing fee that's charged for this product, and either the institution or the parent typically bears for it, right? So in most of our cases, the institution, wherever we are providing credit, the institution actually absorbs the cost of credit, and it's a zero interest, as you said, for the parent.
Yeah.
So that's the first payment option. The second payment option is, we created a digital version of the post-dated check collection ecosystem that that's very widely prevalent in some of these schools and colleges. To give you further context, some schools would tell their parents that if their fee collection is quarterly, they would tell their parents to submit 4 checks, 3 of them post-dated, at the school at the beginning of the year. Now, if for a typical school with 2,000 students, that means that school would have 8,000 physical checks and keep depositing, storing them, and then deposit them at every 3 months in their bank, right? So what we've done is we've created a payment solution that digitizes this entire offering, where we enable parents to create a subscription. And the education institution can then deduct fees from the parent's bank account on the due dates without having to manage all these physical checks, and of course without taking the risk of the checks getting lost or any inconvenience due to the paperwork that is required for physical check storage. So this is the second payment solution that we offer, and the third payment solution is the online payment gateway, which is enabling a parent to pay their fees through UPI, credit card, debit card, net banking. So we consolidate all these 3 payment options in a single platform. Institutions that work with us will decide, what combination of payment solutions they want to use for their parents and for their particular use case. And typically, our charges or our revenue is percentage of each of these 3 payment platforms. Of course, the credit product will have the highest percentage, and the second and third payment option will have slightly lower charges.
All right, Rishabh, we've completely run out of time, but wish you the very best in all your growth plans. And once again, many thanks for joining us on Startup Street today.
Thank you.
And from one fundraise to another, influencer marketing startup One Impression bags $10 million in a Series A round led by South Korean gaming giant Krafton, this signifying a spike in investor interest in the ever-growing creator economy. Now, prior to this, the startup had raised $1 million in seed funding from various angel investors like Piyush Bansal, Anupam Mittal, and celebrities like Neeraj Chopra and Zakir Khan. How does the firm plan to use the funds, and what's the growth blueprint? We are now joined by Apaksh Gupta, the founder and CEO of One Impression. Apaksh, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. You're an influencer marketing platform. Talk to us about what you have on offer. Explain your business to us a bit briefly.
Hi, thank you for having me. And very quickly, how our business works is we aim to simplify the process of influencer marketing for brands and content creators. We're essentially automating the entire workflow for a brand's life cycle to invest in a creator, whether it is a Virat Kohli or a nano content creator. We help brands to do everything from discovering influencers. If I'm an acne brand and I want to invest in creators who talk about acne or say finance, etc., I can instantly discover the right creators, look at their data as to how they perform on different social platforms, discover their prices instantly basis what I want them to do, and then handle everything from payments, contracts, briefing to tracking performance on the platform automatically.
All right, so you've raised $10 million led by Krafton. Tell us about the conversations that you had with them. What kind of synergies do you see? And also, how are you going to use the funds?
So, we're very blessed to have partners like Krafton on the cap table. Krafton is a large gaming giant, as you mentioned. I think they're one of the, for us, it was one of the best marriage we could have, since Krafton has grown their business backed by creator-driven initiatives within their own ecosystem. So for Krafton, influencer marketing was not really anything new. They've been doing influencer marketing for a very long period of time for their own IPs and properties that they hold internally, and they've been doing it at a global scale. So when we presented the platform to Krafton and showcased how we automate the entire workflow for brands and creators to come together and invest in content creators, I think it was a very natural synergy for them, because they could instantly understand the value we were creating at every step, right? We've automated the turnaround time from an average of about 12 days to an average of about 3 days for the entire workflow to complete. So there's an instant saving of 9 days of pure time in that workflow, apart from just solving for data and cost of spending on the ecosystem. So for Krafton, this was sort of a no-brainer. And for us, it was a great partner, largely because there are very few investors in both in India and abroad who understand the creator economy, given it is so new.
Right. And what do you plan to do with the funds? What's on top of the agenda for you?
So three key focus areas for us. One is we want to expand the business. I think our product is already creating magic. So we're going to invest very heavily in scaling up the business, both from acquiring more businesses such as the Unilevers of the world, and for building for smaller MSMEs and very small brands to invest seamlessly. At the same time, we're also going to build a lot of seamlessness and tools for the creators, which is everyone from large celebrities to very small nano creators, including creators in tier 3, tier 4 cities. Second, we're going to also expand internationally. We already transact outside of India as well. So we transact in countries like Indonesia, Middle East, even Kenya, Tanzania, to name a few, right? So we want to build localize a platform for those regions and also start to become significant in those regions. And third, we want to launch a lot of product offerings for both for creators and brands. So I think acquisitions becomes a very natural pathway for us to scale our business. So we're going to look for opportunities where we can partner with great founders to launch new products and services for all our ecosystem players.
All right. Also, I'm going to come back to that to discuss your expansion and inorganic growth plans a little bit in detail. But give us a sense of the business that you've clocked up until now. Where will you end this year in terms of revenue? And are you on track to hit your FY24 target?
We've been one of the blessed stories in a way that we've always been profitable as a company. At the same time, also been scaling up really fast. This is the first primary round of capital we've raised in the company. So, it comes at a great time. We're actually already doing more than the numbers we were hoping for this year. But even next year, I think we're on track to do more than we actually foresaw when we started the year. I think the one key lever that we sort of care about a lot as we continue to invest in growth is profitability. Every month on month, we ensure that the very core DNA of our business, which is profitability, remains intact. Sometimes we do invest in a forward-looking way and are okay to take losses for a shortened period of time.
Right.
But at a unit economics level, we're highly EBITDA positive. So while we'll invest inorganically for growth and ensure that the targets are met, we will also parallelly ensure that we continue to remain profitable, especially at a unit economics level.
Right. So the focus will remain on staying profitable, and you're also going to hit your targets and maybe do better than that as well. What kind of corporate partnerships are you driving? Talk to us about the kind of business you've been able to create for these corporations. How do you measure your impact?
So a couple of things, right? On partnerships, there are actually hundreds of success stories out there today, including the Mamaarts of the world, two smaller D2C brands, right? Who talk about how they've become larger businesses backed by partnering with content creators. I think there are significant stories in the US as well, where creator-led partnerships have led brands to become billion-dollar plus outcomes. I think the natural synergy of how the economy is moving is consumers taking more action driven by what the trusted content creators are talking about. This has become the primary way of discovery and decision making for consumers at large, and hence it is very critical for brands today to partner with the right creators that would advocate for them to the right consumer sets that they're targeting. I think our impact is very, very, very straightforward, right? We are helping brands partner with the right advocates for them to take the brand's voice to the consumers that they care about, and in a sense help them grow the business. The alternate ways for them today includes everything from Google ads, Facebook ads to offline mediums.
Right.
But the way the consumer trends are moving, influencers have become a very significant shareholders and stakeholders in that communication. So just a piecemeal of those channels without content creators being a part of the mix is not enough for brands to grow as businesses anymore. And I think our goal is very simple: to ensure if businesses, when they invest with us, can they see growth, uptick in their whatever metrics they track, from users to downloads to sales. Can we drive that uptick for them instantly, and can we drive more narratives and stronger narratives within their consumer groups?
Absolutely. All right, Apaksh, we're completely out of time, but we wish you all the best going forward, and thank you so much for joining us on Startup Street.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
With that, it's time for a short break. Coming up next, a special report on a 3-day convention dubbed as the world's biggest startup funding event and how it turned out into a scam. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back to Startup Street. A 3-day convention in India, which was dubbed the world's biggest startup funding event and prompted hundreds to spend huge amounts of money on it, turned out to be a hoax of epic proportion, forgery and the biggest scam. Aishwarya Anand brings you the full story. Take a look.
This was the scene at World Startup Convention, an event which touted itself to be the world's biggest funding festival. It promised attendees a chance to meet with ministers, top investors, and even the likes of Elon Musk, Sundar Pichai, and SoftBank's Masayoshi Son. The situation soon turned grim once the attendees realized that they have been duped. No giant investors, no chief guest, no explanations, and even no refunds.
9,000 investors were committed, angel investors, and 1,500 VCs were committed. But I just saw a couple of investors only there. Those were not established investors. Many startups were prepared to pitch, but pitch was not happening.
Founders of young startups, students, and a whole lot of aspirants who had booked tickets after being influenced by glitzy promos on social media knew that they were part of a big scam.
As student founders, the passes were really expensive. They were 8,000 rupees each. So we spent around 16,000 rupees and we got the passes. After a week or so, they actually changed their website. There was nothing like that. They were claiming nothing was there. So I asked that, I again gave them a call. I asked that what's happening. They told that we have mentioned that they are notable invitees. They are not, it's not confirmed that they're coming. So at that point, I knew that, dude, we are scam. So they told it's like non-refundable. Even they offered me to like get a stall over there for 20,000 rupees or something. I didn't go there.
After multiple police complaints were filed at the Knowledge Park police station in Noida, and FIR has now been filed against the organizers. However, as per reports, the founders Luke Talwar and Arjun Chaudhary have denied the charges. The duo had started QFunder, a platform that launched the World Startup Convention in 2022. The convention took place on March 24, 2023 and was supposed to continue till March 26th. The founders had claimed earlier that over 1 lakh applications have been received from startups across the globe. After the fiasco, Chaudhary in a statement said that on their website they had only mentioned who were supposed to join the event, but cannot take guarantee of their actual presence. The founders are now saying that they would file a complaint against disruptors of the event. This incident has also become a thorn in the side of the influencer founders and celeb entrepreneurs Ankur Warikoo, Raj Shamani, Chetan Bhagat, Praful Bilore and others who promoted the event.
ये तीनों चीजें एक ही जगह पे अब अवेलेबल है. The World Startup Convention 2023 24 से 26 मार्च ग्रेटर नोएडा में हो रहा है.
Biggest funding festival, World Startup Convention, is happening in Noida from the 24th to the 26th March, where you can get funding in just 3 days.
If you're a startup founder, I know you're facing tough time raising funds. Well, it's time to take a step back and reevaluate. The World Startup Convention is coming to town.
मैं प्रफुल्ल बिल्लोरे MBA चावला आ रहा हूँ वर्ल्ड स्टार्टअप कन्वेंशन में, एक ऐसी इवेंट जो आपके स्टार्टअप के लिए एक गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी है.
Warikoo, in a clarification to CNBC-TV18, claimed that the deal signed with the event did not allow such use of his video. He added that in January, he distanced himself from the event and didn't attend the World Startup Convention despite being repeatedly asked to. Warikoo, however, did not tell us why he recorded the video if it wasn't to be used. Chetan Bhagat has not responded, while Shamani claimed that the video was not supposed to go live.
This is where the moral fabric of, I'll say, everybody who's doing the promotion and marketing is not right, I'll just say. You know that these entrepreneurs are very busy in their life. They have so many things to be done, and yes, raising an investment is part of the job. But calling someone on a fake premise that there will be a lot of investors to a particular event is not only waste of money but time.
The World Startup Convention has left thousands of participants disappointed due to its lack of transparency and questionable claims. While an FIR has been filed, the organizers haven't been arrested yet, and there is no clarity if the money will be refunded to the participants. Aishwarya Anand for CNBC-TV18.
Meanwhile, it is Friday and it's time to see how the startup space fared in terms of new deals this week. 6 deals took place valued at $29 million as per data from Venture Intelligence. Here are some notable deals. EdTech company Upgrad bagged almost $10 million from Temasek. Restaurant tech platform Easy Diner raised nearly $5 million from DMI Alternative Investment Fund. Home interior player Design Cafe also got $4.8 million from Westbridge Capital. That's not all. Polytrade attracted $3.8 million from Alpha Wave Global, Matrix Partners India and others, and payment checkout solutions player NIMBBL raised $3.5 million from Sequoia Capital India, Global Founders Capital and others. Overall, the startup world has seen 153 deals in 2023 so far, valued at nearly $2,200 million.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.